Just a robot.
Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not.
There's something people used to always say, me and my big mouth. Over 3 years ago, I said I was going to review the Lorax. Mainly because I thought I would have some success reviewing movies. But my Man of Steel video, even to this day, hasn't done all too well. And neither has my recent Pippi review. But unfortunately, I'm a robot of my word, so it's about time I do it. Better late than never, I guess. The Lorax is based on a book by the same name, originally published in June 23rd, 1971, and written by Dr. Theodore Seuss. The book is pretty short, only 64 pages, but you know what they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and boy did it have a lot of pictures. All of which were less creepy than some of, Dr. Seuss's other artworks. The book was mainly about pollution, which is basically the old-fashioned version of global warming. I wonder what 1970s Greta Thunberg would have been like.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here.
Now, the 2012 environmentalist Lorax movie really boiled my blood. I don't think I've been so angry at an environmentalist movie since the second Jurassic Park movie. And no, I'm not going to review it. Unless this video does really well. And it's going to take longer than 3 years. Now, when I heard Nostalgia Critic was going to review this movie, I got really excited. And while he did a decent job, he missed the absolute biggest problem with the movie. Now, this wouldn't be a 90s movie if it didn't begin with a song. Oh wait, hang on. Sorry, I was looking at my Pippi Longstocking script. Now, this wouldn't be a 2010s movie if it didn't open with a song.
It's perfect. And that's how it will stay. Oh yeah. We love the life we lead. We're destined to succeed. We are all agreed.
So the kind of ish main character is a kid voiced by Zac Efron, who's in love with a girl voiced by Taylor Swift? Now, don't get me wrong, they're both attractive people, but they're voice acting them and not playing them. And why is a 20-something man voicing a 12-year-old boy? It makes no sense. The girl's personality is she likes trees, and if a guy gave her a tree, she would bone them. And that's her one personality trait, and that's all she's good for in the movie.
I'm just thinking out loud here. If a guy somehow got you one...
Well, I'd probably marry him on the spot.
I seriously don't even know her name. And this is the reason why the boy goes to find the Onceler. And I'm glad they explained the reason. In the book, I originally thought he was going to learn about the history of the world he was currently in. How it came to be, and how us, the reader, can do what we can to avoid a world like this. But nah, fuck that. This is way deeper. He's doing it because he's a giant simp. We're then introduced to our villain of the movie, who looks like a real 63 Edna Moe, who's the evil businessman who's responsible for selling fresh air to people? Remember when villains used to, I don't know, destroy a forest to build a parking lot? I mean, selling fresh air to people isn't that bad. It's like making a villain called Dinsani who sells fresh water to people. Well, fresh water that tastes like it used to have a nickel in it, but fresh water nonetheless.
Well, here goes another lame Saturday.
Dude, I don't think so.
Huh? Hey. Man.
I love that this movie is trying to make fun of over-the-top commercials, when the Lorax had tons of over-the-top commercials, including a 2013 Mazda car that got 35 miles per gallon.
Fuel efficiency without compromising the joy of driving.
I mean, my Prius is older than that and it gets over 40 miles per gallon. Get on my level, bitch. And yes, this character wasn't in the book. Now, I understand the book was short, so you have to add a few things here and there to make the movie 2 hours long. But could they at least make him interesting? He's one of the most boring animated villains I've ever seen. And that's saying a lot. You know that Pixar cliche that Disney also does a lot? The one where they make you think the villain is a good guy for the first half, but then reveal he's evil in the second half? Well, I am a bit sick of the cliche up to the point where I always see it coming now. It would have been so much more interesting if this guy was played up as the good guy, and then he was revealed to be the bad guy. I mean, think about it. You could keep the original design, make him a goofy mayor. He's the one running everything and giving the people fresh air. And he's also the one who sends Zac Efron to go talk to the Onceler so he can get the last Truffula seed. After Zac Efron kid gets the last Truffula seed, he gives it to the goofy mayor, who then reveals himself to be the villain. And he only wanted the last Truffula seed so he could destroy it. Because he wants to have a monopoly on fresh air. And he doesn't want trees to produce it for free. But no, we have to teach kids that villains who twirl their mustaches in public are the only real villains, and there's absolutely no one out there who would try to take advantage of them. Zac Efron kid leaves the city and is still breathing. Yeah, he's coughing a little bit, but considering the Onceler lives out here, fresh air doesn't seem like it's all that cracked up to be. But in order to talk to the Onceler, he has to give the Onceler a few things. One of which is the shell of a great-great-great-great-grandfather snail. And yes, this is originally from the book, and when I was a little kid and my fatherboard was reading the book to me, all I could think was, so did he take a snail and like breed it with another snail, then keep going down the line breeding these snails until the first snail he had was a great-great-great-grandfather snail? I really have a bad habit of overthinking things. The Onceler tells Zac Efron kid about where all the Truffula trees went. And yes, they do show what the Onceler looks like in this version. The old version of the Onceler didn't have a face, so the reader could project themselves onto him. You see, the Onceler knew what he was doing was wrong, but he would debate himself and justify his actions.
You ought to be locked in a hoosecow, you should. The things that you do are completely ungood. Yeah? But if I didn't do them, then someone else would. That's a very good point, Mr. Onceler.
It was supposed to represent that what he's doing could happen to anyone. But at least the face they gave him is pretty average. He looks like an everyman. But I have a question. Why do so many girls on Tumblr want to bone him?
What?
Yeah, this was a weird thing where there was so much fan art of the Onceler, and I just don't get it. He's not buff, he has no chin. Really, he just looks like a tall leafy is here. His voice is almost as whiny as mine, and his personality leaves much to be desired. The other Onceler was mysterious, had a deep voice, and was intellectual. I just want to know why people found him attractive. Even Frollo becoming a sex symbol made more sense to me. In his youth, the Onceler chops down a Truffula tree, summoning the Lorax. The Lorax and the other animals of the forest mourn the tree's death in a really touching scene. Then the Lorax tries to murder him. And before someone says, oh, the Lorax isn't trying to murder him, he's just setting him in the river so he'll go away. And yes, the river did lead to a waterfall, but the Lorax didn't know that. And to that I have to say, the Lorax is the guardian of the forest. You would think he knows the layout of the forest he is the guardian of. The Lorax saves the Onceler after almost murdering him. And then him and his animals' friends invade the Onceler's house. Kind of weird that one of the messages of this movie is don't invade other people's spaces, while the Lorax is invading other people's spaces, but whatever. The Onceler finally makes his need, it's successful, his family comes to town, and they start chopping down trees left and right. And we get probably my favorite song in the movie.
How bad can I be? I'm just doing what comes naturally. How bad can I be? I'm just following my destiny.
A lot of people hate this song, and yeah, the lyrics are about as subtle as a nuclear explosion, but the beat is so catchy. I also really like the part where they take a picture of the Lorax holding a Thneed, and they make a billboard out of it saying, Lorax approved. I like it because it's the most hypocritical thing I've ever seen in any movie ever, because there were so many commercials that were using the Lorax to push their product. And I truly mean that. I think this is the most hypocritical thing I've ever seen in any movie ever. But just for fun, tell me in the comments section down below what you think is the most hypocritical thing in any movie ever. The last of the Truffula trees is cut down, and the Onceler business is over. This is why in real life logging companies replant trees. We cut back to the modern time, and the Onceler gives Zac Efron kid the last Truffula seed. Now here is where the book originally ends, but the movie continues the story, and it's my biggest problem with the movie. Let's say the villain got the last Truffula seed and destroyed it. So what? The relationship between Zac Efron kid and Taylor Swift girl is in the bag. She saw the Truffula seed and she has a boner for trees. Is the city going to run out of fresh air? No, they seem fine. A few years ago, I got into an argument with someone who actually liked this movie, and he said that the town was running out of fresh air. Well, if they are, they never implied it in the movie. Ever. I checked. Come to think of it, how is the villain even making fresh air? If humans can create their own air, then what the fuck is the point of trees? Actually, that's another good point. 80% of all oxygen is created by undersea life, not trees above the water. This is the weakest argument an environmentalist could make for why we need trees. There are loads of good reasons why we should protect the trees. They produce fresh air is not one of them. Is the whole world like this, or just this one little area? Technology seems advanced enough in this world that they have internet. Can't they see what's going on, in the rest of the world? Basically, the whole message of this movie boils down to, I don't like paying for things. Air should be free. Even though none of the citizens seem poor at all. In fact, this looks like a utopia. Basically, all this movie has taught me is that technology beats nature. And I remember watching this movie, 2012 me thought, yeah, this is pretty bad, a movie pandering to a cause, while also being hypocritical about the cause they claim to be fighting for. But at least something like this will only happen every once in a while. Then 2013 through 2020 happened, and unfortunately things in the media just seem to be getting worse and worse. Unless, of course, someone like you watching this video cares a whole awful lot. Nothing is going to get better. It's not.
Grow a forest. Protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back.
eyes have seen the glory of the cleansing of YouTube, debunking SJWs and feminazis too. We criticize reactionists in hopes they get the boot. Just the robot marches on.
Don't do drugs.